Welcome Trinidad and Tobago to our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Nicola Barreto. Let's take a look at the headlines. The Minister of Health clears the air on the nursing issue. Government outlines plans to establish an organ donor bank at the nation's hospital. Residents of Diamond Village, Claxton Bay got up close and personal with their Labour Minister, Errol McLeod. And the annual pot spoon throwdown off to a great start from the hills of Lopino. Thank you for joining us. The Honourable Health Minister, Dr. Fuad Khan, says the Nursing Council exam is an unnecessary exam still being imposed on students after they have satisfied the requirements at the tertiary level institutions and qualify as nurses. He says there is no need for a final exam after a final exam. He adds that nurses can, however, still sit the regional licensing exam if they wish to work regionally. Dr. Khan was speaking exclusively with News 4.
The Health Minister says the removal of the Nursing Council exam is not a hasty decision, but one arrived at after much review, discussion and consultation of data and with stakeholders. He adds that the existing structure is archaic and outdated, as the qualifying examinations are now set by the tertiary level institutions, whereas the licensing exam is set by the Nursing Council. This exam, he says, originated since there was no other exam in place before. The minister says they are now internationally recognized and accredited tertiary level institutions such as UWI, COSTAT and USC, which offer certificates and degrees in nursing, and they are now responsible for the training and examination of these nursing students using global best practice. The Nursing Council, he says, should not be a training and examination organization and is not accredited to do that. He adds that training and examinations should remain with institutions developed to do this, such as tertiary level schools.
When that exam came into being, the Nursing Council was responsible for nursing exams because there were no accredited institutions who were doing training of nurses. Now we have University of the West Indies, we have the COSTAT, and we have the HERS. Those accredited institutions are institutions that develop an accredited program. They are both practical and academic studies. They themselves have exams going right through. They have a final exam. And these nurses are trained based on the wards as well as off-ward study programs. So to have the Nursing Council exam right after their final exam, it is not keeping with proper regulatory bodies' practices, such as the Dental Council, Medical Council, the other professional bodies. So it would be wise if somebody wanted to write this exam to migrate, it could be an optional exam, not a compulsory exam.
Dr. Khan says the requirements for other professionals such as dentists, doctors and lawyers are not even as stringent as those for nurses. He adds that some nurses have been led to believe that the licensing exam is necessary to ensure that they are properly qualified, suggesting that the certificate or degree from the tertiary institutions is inferior in some way to the licensing exam. He says one must not be misguided. The Health Minister is also commenting on what he calls the high failure rate for the Nursing Council exam. He says most of the nurses failing the licensing exam are holders of certificates and degrees from tertiary level institutions, and as such, he deduces that the problem is not with the nurses, but with the licensing exam itself, and also with the difference in teaching methods over a period of time.
Well, you have two types of educators, old educators and new educators. The new training methods makes you think. It's called critical thinking. It makes you think in a manner and you answer questions based on your thinking as well as your teaching, what you've learned. You could watch an exam paper with a question on it and the question could be answered in a different manner but with the same ideas. In the nursing exam, if you don't have exactly what they say that exam is supposed to have, which remember was the old way of teaching, that if you do not have A, B, C, D in that order, then you have failed. Your conceptual ideas in the new technology, in new methods of teaching, is how you approach a problem. Now, there are different ways to approach a problem, different ways to answer a problem. Not exactly where key is concerned, that this is how it's supposed to be answered. If it's not answered this way, then you failed. And sorry, we have gone through that system at our levels initially, that if you did not regurgitate exactly what the person taught you, you have failed, even if what they're teaching you is wrong. And I think that is the concept why there's a high failure rate.
The minister also sought to address another major concern raised regarding the standards and quality of training. He says these in no way will be lowered, but in fact be improved, since the tertiary level institutions will continue looking at ways to ensure the standard of nursing examinations is continually monitored, improved, and remains high. Dr. Khan assures that the Nursing Council will continue to be consulted by the tertiary level institutions for development and future improvements to the curriculum of the various institutions. Dr. Khan is also assuring nurses that their best interest was being sought in the matter.
I'm not removing the exam, I'm making it optional. It's not going to be compulsory for entrance. The other thing, I'm not bringing Indian nurses to displace the nurses here. In fact, I'm allowing our nurses in Trinidad and Tobago to be in the system, not out of the system. There will be no money removed from any nurse salary. They will continue to get what they have to get and maybe more.
Verna Barath, News 4.
Citizens are being urged to consider donating organs of their loved ones who have passed away. Government has outlined plans to establish an organ donor bank at the nation's hospitals. Speaking at a conference hosted by Repsol, the company in charge of sponsoring the training of local doctors for the establishing of the National Organ Transplant Unit, Dr. Colin Furlong, Principal Medical Officer of the Ministry of Health, said in order for organ transplantation to be sustained locally, a steady supply of donated organs will be needed. He says this can only be done if citizens are willing to pass on their relatives' organs after they have died.
Give the gift of life is the challenge being put forward by the Ministry of Health as it seeks to emphasize the need for organ donation after loved ones have passed away. The move is expected to save hundreds of lives as well as reduce costs in the area of kidney dialysis. Principal Medical Officer of the Ministry of Health, Dr. Colin Furlong, says the country needs a steady supply of donated organs and describes this gift of life as an act of kindness.
Currently, we are functioning with only having living donors who can only help one person at a time. And as has been explained before, a living donor can only give one kidney. What we need are deceased donors. Every deceased donor can donate possibly to several persons. For instance, one deceased donor can give 2 kidneys to 2 persons. Giving the gift of life after death is indeed a selfless and remarkable act of kindness.
Last year, government partnered with the Donation and Transplantation Institute, DTI, a non-profit organization founded in Barcelona, Spain, to initiate the project sponsored by Repsol for the training of doctors from within the public health sector. Dr. Furlong says the donor system can only work when citizens are willing to share and are aware of the importance of donating organs.
The next step in the development of a comprehensive national transplant program is therefore to develop a sustainable supply for transplantation. Therefore, there's a need to develop a robust disease donor program to complement living organ donation. The success of such a program requires the support of the entire population. As citizens, we have to be prepared to become organ donors.
He adds that transformation of local hospitals were on the way towards becoming more organ donor friendly.
Making our hospitals transplant friendly is just one of the many steps in our efforts to increase the organ donor pool so that the chances of patients in need of transplant getting a new lease on life would be even that much closer. It is in this light that in October 2011, the government and Trinidad and Tobago had partnered with the Donation and Transplantation Institute, a non-profit organization that was founded in Barcelona to initiate this project, Organ Donations and Transplant Network for Trinidad and Tobago.
So far, 3 local doctors have participated in transplant coordination training and internship with DTI in Spain. Citizens interested in becoming a registered organ donor can sign up by calling the 800 donor line or going online at the Health Ministry's website, www.health.gov.tt. Kimberly Ramkalawan, News 4.
News 4 continues after the break. Stay with us.
The iPhone 4S has an all-new camera with 8 megapixels and advanced optics. So it lets you capture stunning photos. And because it's an iPhone, you can do things you never imagined possible with a camera. So maybe the only camera you need is the one on the most amazing iPhone yet.
Thank you for staying with us. The Honorable Transport Minister Chandra Sharma is vowing to take a different approach towards the management of his ministry. This came as the minister toured the various divisions of the transport sector in southern Trinidad.
Newly appointed Transport Minister Chandra Sharma says he intends to take a more hands-on approach in the management of the various transport divisions. He says it's part of the plans to bring 21st century innovation to the sector. The minister was speaking during his tour of the southern divisions of the PTSE and licensing office as he met with workers charged with the responsibility of managing these sectors.
We have met most of the agencies, and the intention is really how do we improve the quality of life around here for first the employees, the Assistant Transport Commissioner, and of course the paying public who come here to conduct business on a daily basis. The first thing is to become familiar. We want to see through the eyes of the persons who manage it. In the past, what may have obtained that the ministers may have stayed in head offices and decided on programs and not involved the users. And here and the operators. So we're making sure in the first instance we are meeting the operators, which is the transport division.
Minister Sharma outlined plans to upgrade the infrastructure at the San Fernando licensing office, even as the government seeks to improve the current system.
There was a consideration to rebuild this entire facility and perhaps to relocate temporarily. The Assistant Commissioner and the officers here may have a different view, and we want to give consideration to that, which may be a very good thing. That is to stay here and build at the same time. With the technology available to us, a lot of these type of buildings are done off-site and assembled on site. So we would also be looking at that.
Meanwhile, the minister says government remains committed to open dialogue with all stakeholders in providing an efficient service to the people. He was speaking to reporters following a meeting held with PTSE workers.
At the end of the day, everybody wants to be heard and they want to be communicated. And instructions of the Honorable Prime Minister is that we will treat with people who we are serving. And wherever people come, and they came there, they were on the way to another meeting. And we're going to meet them on Wednesday morning. The government is open for business, and we will start with local people first. So it's not only for persons who wish to come and open business from outside, also those who provide goods and services to the country, to the state, to government agencies. We are obligated to meet with them, hear them, and treat with them.
Kimberly Ramkalawan, News 4.
Residents of Diamond Village, Claxton Bay, got up close and personal with their Labour Minister, Errol McLeod, MP for the Pointe-a-Pierre constituency, as he toured the area. The visit to the village was the second for the minister within 1 week, as he sought to bring relief to their plight of floods experienced due to poor drainage systems in the area.
In an effort to end decades of perennial floods in the Claxton Bay village of Diamond, MP for the area and Labour Minister Errol McLeod says remedy to this age-long problem is on its way. Poor drainage and runoff systems have been the main source of floods with the slightest rainfall. This residents say has resulted in damages to their homes and property. Touring the affected area, Minister MacLeod walked and talked with his constituents on viewing how the problem has affected their lives.
The situation that we have seen, both from a drainage and a roadworks context perspective, it is bad enough. And we are going to collaborate, the Ministry of Local Government, the Ministry of Works and Ministry of Works and Infrastructure, and certainly constituency representative and so on. We'll be working together to ensure that all of this is done.
Denise Simmons, resident of the village, said while the problem has existed for quite some time now, she expressed appreciation for the minister's second visit to her community.
Within the drainage behind there, behind the houses and them, and the water gathering inside people's house, that is not 3 years. That is years of hazard, you know. But maybe about 3 years now, maybe for the road falling here, because of the water. Because of the water. The people's houses even cracking away because of the water, you know. So if we could get this fixed in here, we will appreciate it very, very much. I appreciate Mr. MacLeod came here Friday gone, and I say, well, this is a serious thing we're going on here now, and we appreciate this. This is what we want. You understand? And if he could come back here today, well, we're seeing that something will work here for us, and we will get something done.
Also on hand for the tour, Works and Infrastructure Minister Emmanuel George, who took over the portfolio within recent weeks, noted that solutions to the problem lie in the improvement of the current water system, which he expects will be corrected in the shortest possible time.
The Director of Drainage already has this particular matter on his agenda for doing, so that what we will try to do now is to give it a little more priority, a little higher priority, and see how fast it can be done. I've already said to him here that he should put it higher up on his list of things to do, so we hope you can start the work much more quickly.
Minister MacLeod noted he intends to keep in touch with the residents until the issue is resolved. Kimberly Ramkalawan, News 4.
More news after the break.
I bring a message of peace. P-E-A-C-E. It's about patriotism, environment, and citizenship education. Calling you, or youths, between the ages of 14 to 20, become a trainee in the Peace Program nationwide.
Just 6 weeks of peace training starting 9 July.
Come join us 2 days a week.
From 9 to 3.
Over the age of 18.
You want to be an instructor in this program?
Your training starts from the 25th to the 29th of June.
Interested in becoming a trainee or instructor?
You can call us at 625-2652 or 625-9557. Or visit us online at peaceprogram2012@gov.tt.
The Peace Program.
Promoting patriotic citizenship.
An initiative of the Ministry of National Security for the 50th anniversary of Trinidad and Tobago's independence.
Welcome back. Friday, 13 July is the revised deadline for registration for the annual youth sport camps organized and managed by the Sport Company of Trinidad and Tobago. Now, the camps will run for 3 weeks starting Monday, 16 July. The national response to the registration drive has been excellent, and due to the overwhelming demand, the deadline has been extended. Parents and guardians are asked to note that the swimming and gymnastics venues are oversubscribed and will not be registering any more children. Football and cricket venues are also in high demand, so registration will be accepted on a first-come, first-served basis. The other sport disciplines available are athletics, basketball, cycling, golf, hockey, netball, rugby, sailing, table tennis, tennis, and volleyball. Interested persons can call 643-5630, 643-1009, or 643-0346 to register for the youth sport camps at a venue near you. Still in sport, the Honorable Minister of Education, Dr. Tim Gopi Singh, was once again in one of his favorite elements as the featured speaker at an award ceremony for outstanding young cricketers. On this occasion, the Primary Schools Cricket League was in the spotlight and News 4 Sport was there. Wayne Cunningham has the details.
The participants and organizers of the National Primary Schools Cricket League came in for high praise during the feature address delivered by Dr. Tim Gopi Singh, Minister of Education, at the award ceremony for the league on Monday.
As our nation celebrates its 50th anniversary of our independence this year, we are in a reflective state as well. In fact, as today occasions, we have much to celebrate. For before us here today, in the achievements of these beautiful children, these boys and girls who have excelled in the field of cricket and in other sports, I'm sure they do excel. We see our future in great, capable hands, and we see a guarantee for progress and prosperity decades from now in their feats and in them as a generation.
Since 2004, gas company Atlantic has been sponsoring the National Primary Schools Cricket League, a fact not lost on the former Trinidad and Tobago fast bowler.
I wish to take the time to express on behalf of the Ministry of Education and myself my deep gratitude to Atlantic LNG for its ongoing sponsorship of this very important series of games. I have often said that such a commitment to the development of our young children, and thus an investment in our country's economic and social future, is always akin to a display of patriotism at its best. And I hope that having sponsored this event for 9 consecutive years, Atlantic LNG will continue to do so for a very long time to come.
The minister outlined the ministry's sporting expectations.
What we at the Ministry of Education want is the fullest development potential of our children, and that we want our children to be socially and culturally integrated into society. They must be physically fit and well nutritioned, and they must be able to bring about excellence in whatever they do. So in that context, we reviewed the primary school curriculum and ensured that physical education be an important aspect of the primary school curriculum, and therefore cricket is in synergy with the aspect of physical education.
Then it was on to the awards. The national girls champions were Guaya Guayari RC. Amongst the boys, Tunapuna Presbyterian was the runners-up, with Wim Anglican School taking Tobago's first ever national title. They also captured the Inter-School Boys Championship, with Bonaventure Presbyterian School taking the girls inter-school. The Super League was won by Sandy Grandi Hindu School. Minister Gopi Singh then distributed the awards for the 5 outstanding cricketers for 2012, who were Tishon Batiste of Tunapuna, Joshua James of Wim Anglican, Omari James, also of Wim, Dundonville Girls Government's Kira Wright, and Tishari George of Guaya Guayari Girls RC. Wayne Cunningham, News 4 Sports.
When we come back, it's all about the annual Pot Spoon Throwdown. Stay with us.
Homo sapien, we'll call him Mark. It spends its days trying to attract a mate. Success. What follows is a series of celebratory actions unique to this species. Every Homo sapien has their own way of displaying themselves to attract a female. But things don't go according to plan.
Where the water gone?
No water, no love. Pay your WASA bill today.
The Water and Sewage Authority of Trinidad and Tobago. Water security for every sector. Deliver it, sustain it.
Welcome back. The annual Pot Spoon Throwdown took to the hills of Lopino as villagers put on a culinary show, much to the delight of patrons looking to get a taste of the Spanish heritage entwined in the culture of the rural eastern village. The Honorable Tourism Minister Stephen Cady said the event was one in many to be held around the country in an effort to highlight the many tourism spots that have remained undiscovered across Trinidad and Tobago.
The hills of Lopino came alive as hundreds flocked to the annual pot spoon throwdown competition, which kicked off in the remote eastern village. Lopino, known for its rich Spanish cuisine full of spices, was no doubt on the menu for everyone visiting the food fair. The festival is the first for Tourism Minister Stephen Cady, who received his appointment to the portfolio recently. He said the Pot Spoon Throwdown aims to develop the community culinary tourism niche and promote community development.
The Ministry of Tourism has been working assiduously in developing community tourism as part of the ministry's overall thrust to develop a strong tourism industry which is community-based and encourages participation from all sectors of the national community. This program of community involvement and investment is envisioned to encourage the mobilization of domestic resources while engaging and empowering communities in the planning and decision-making process for the development, management and ownership of indigenous tourism products and services.
Patrons not only got a chance to whet their culinary taste buds, but musical entertainment from Venezuelan band Trapiche serenaded them to their delight.
Ay, Nueva York, no me hagas con el oro, tú me pegas la renta, no me hagas la isla del toro. A Nueva York, no voy, porque no hay vino, no hay vino ni amor.
MP for the Area Minister of Arts and Multiculturalism, Dr. Lincoln Douglas, said the event gave Lopino the chance to highlight the historical elements of the village, as well as the cocoa estates, something he hopes to market in a greater way.
The area is so beautiful. It's just a rich green valley, and it's a struggle for us, even as Lopino people and people from this area, to really keep it this way. And I think tourism can help us a lot in that regard to maintain the richness of the environment. Immediately, right now, we have a team of people who are working on a tourism product for Lopino, a holistic product for proposal and product, and so we are looking into all of that, putting it together.
The Pot Spoon Throwdown will visit Mayaro next Sunday, where seafood and coconut-based dishes will be on the menu for visitors to enjoy, along with cooking competitions, children's play park, live entertainment, and a small farmers and crafts market. Kimberly Ramkalawan, News 4.
Well, that's how we wrap up this edition of our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Nicola Barito. Thank you for joining us.